Tina Holt, a vibrant 21-year-old, lived a life brimming with purpose. From a young age, she had always been drawn to the idea of helping others. Her childhood was filled with dreams of becoming a hero, someone who could make a real difference in the world. This dream led her to pursue a career in emergency medical services, where she could channel her energy and compassion into saving lives. As a dedicated paramedic, her days were spent on the front lines, answering distress calls and providing critical medical aid. Each call she responded to was a new opportunity to make a difference, to be the lifeline that someone desperately needed. Whether it was a car accident, a heart attack, or a simple fall, Tina approached each situation with the same level of urgency and care. Her energy was boundless, fueled by her passion for helping others and her unwavering commitment to her profession. She was often the first to arrive at the scene, her quick thinking and decisive actions making all the difference. Her colleagues often marveled at her ability to stay calm under pressure, a skill that was crucial in the high-stakes world of emergency medicine. Tina embodied the very essence of health and vitality. She maintained a rigorous fitness routine, understanding that her physical condition was just as important as her medical knowledge. Her dedication to her own health was a testament to her commitment to her patients. She knew that in order to save others, she had to be at her best. Little did she know, fate had a cruel twist in store, one that would test her resilience and redefine her life's journey. It was during a routine call that Tina first noticed something was wrong. A persistent fatigue that she couldn't shake, a nagging pain that wouldn't go away. She brushed it off at first, attributing it to the long hours and the physical demands of her job. Tina thrived in the fast-paced world of emergency medicine. The adrenaline rush of responding to an emergency, the satisfaction of knowing she had made a difference, it was all part of what made her job so fulfilling. But as the days went on, the fatigue and pain became harder to ignore. She found herself struggling to keep up, her once boundless energy now a distant memory. Each day brought new challenges, pushing her skills and compassion to the limit. She prided herself on her ability to handle even the most difficult situations, but now she was facing a challenge unlike any she had encountered before. The very thing that had driven her to become a paramedic, her desire to help others, was now being tested in ways she could never have imagined. She found deep satisfaction in knowing that her actions often meant the difference between life and death. The gratitude of the patients she helped, the relief in their eyes, it was all the motivation she needed to keep going. But now, she was the one in need of help, and she wasn't sure where to turn. Her colleagues admired her unwavering dedication and her ability to remain calm under pressure. They had always looked up to her as a role model, someone who exemplified what it meant to be a paramedic. But now, they could see the toll that her condition was taking on her, and they rallied around her, offering their support and encouragement. Tina was living proof that one person could make a tangible difference in the world. Her journey was far from over, and she knew that she would continue to fight not just for herself, but for all the people she had dedicated her life to helping. Her story was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, and a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we can find the courage to keep going. It began on a seemingly ordinary Saturday morning. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a warm glow over the quiet suburban streets. Birds chirped cheerfully, and the world seemed to be waking up slowly, savoring the calm before the hustle and bustle of the day. Tina had plans to meet a close friend for brunch. She was excited, as it had been weeks since they last caught up. They had both been so busy with their respective lives, and this brunch was a much-needed break from their hectic schedules. They were eager to catch up and share stories from their busy lives. The thought of laughing and chatting over delicious food brought a smile to Tina's face. She could already imagine the joy of reconnecting with her friend, sharing anecdotes, and simply enjoying each other's company. As Tina got ready, she noticed a dull ache throbbing in her head. It was a mild discomfort, nothing too alarming. She frowned slightly, wondering if she had slept in an awkward position or if it was just the result of a long week. It was nothing out of the ordinary, she thought, attributing it to the stress of her demanding job. Tina worked long hours and often found herself dealing with tight deadlines and high expectations. Headaches were not uncommon for her, and she had learned to manage them over time. She popped a couple of painkillers, hoping to stave off the discomfort. She had a busy day ahead and didn't want a minor headache to ruin her plans. The painkillers usually worked quickly, and she was confident that she would feel better soon. Tina arrived at the cafe, her headache already fading into the background. The familiar aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the sound of soft chatter greeted her as she walked in. She felt a sense of comfort and anticipation as she looked around for a table. Her friend was running a bit late, giving Tina a few moments to relax and enjoy the ambiance of her favorite brunch spot. She found a cozy corner table and settled in, taking a deep breath and letting the stress of the week melt away. As she sipped her coffee, she felt a renewed sense of energy and excitement for the day ahead. The rich, warm flavor of the coffee was invigorating, and she couldn't help but smile as she thought about the fun she would have with her friend. Little did she know, this ordinary moment of tranquility was about to be shattered. The headache that had seemed so harmless was just the beginning of something far more sinister. As the cafe began to fill with more patrons, Tina's head started to throb again, this time with a sharp, piercing pain that made her wince. She tried to shake it off, but the pain was relentless. Her vision blurred, and she felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. Panic started to set in as she realized that this was no ordinary headache. Something was very wrong. Tina struggled to stand, hoping to make her way to the restroom to splash some water on her face. But her legs felt weak, and she stumbled, catching the attention of those around her. Concerned faces turned towards her as she clutched her head, trying to steady herself. Within moments, she collapsed to the floor, the pain overwhelming her senses. The cafe erupted into chaos as people rushed to help, someone quickly dialing for an ambulance. Tina's world faded to black as she lost consciousness, the once peaceful morning now a distant memory. The ambulance arrived swiftly, and paramedics worked quickly to stabilize her. They lifted her onto a stretcher, their faces grim as they assessed her condition. The severity of her situation was clear, and they knew they had to act fast. As the ambulance sped through the city streets, Tina's life hung in the balance. The paramedics did everything they could to keep her stable, but the journey to the hospital felt like an eternity. The emergency entrance loomed ahead, and they prepared for the critical moments that lay ahead. At the hospital, a team of doctors and nurses was ready and waiting. They rushed Tina into the emergency room, their movements swift and coordinated. The beeping of medical equipment filled the air as they worked urgently to diagnose and treat her. The initial tests revealed a severe brain hemorrhage, a life-threatening condition that required immediate surgery. The doctors discussed the best course of action, knowing that time was of the essence. Tina's life depended on their skill and speed. The surgical team prepared for the delicate procedure, their faces set with determination. They knew the risks were high, but they were committed to saving Tina's life. The operating room was a flurry of activity as they began the intricate surgery. Hours passed as the surgeons worked meticulously, their focus unwavering. Every movement was precise, every decision critical. The room was tense, but the team remained calm and composed, their expertise guiding them through the complex operation. Finally, the surgery was complete. The lead surgeon removed his gloves, a look of relief on his face. Tina was moved to the recovery room where she would be closely monitored. The road to recovery would be long, but she had made it through the first critical hurdle. Days later, Tina slowly regained consciousness. Her family was by her side, their faces filled with relief and gratitude. She smiled weakly, knowing that she had been given a second chance. The ordeal had been harrowing, but she was determined to recover and cherish every moment of her life. The sun rose once again, casting a warm glow over the quiet suburban streets. Life had returned to its peaceful rhythm, but for Tina, everything had changed. She had faced a terrifying ordeal and emerged stronger, ready to embrace the beauty of each new day. Her friend arrived, radiating her usual warmth and energy. As they delved into their animated conversation, Tina's headache returned with a vengeance. It pounded in her temples, making it difficult to focus on the conversation. She tried to mask her discomfort, not wanting to alarm her friend. However, her friend, attuned to the subtle shifts in Tina's demeanor, noticed something was amiss. Tina's speech began to slur, her words tumbling over each other in a jumbled mess. Her friend watched in horror as Tina's right hand went limp, a fork clattering to the floor. Instinct took over. Her friend recognized the telltale signs of a stroke, the very condition Tina had dedicated her life to treating in others. With a surge of adrenaline, she sprang into action, her quick thinking a beacon of hope in the face of unfolding tragedy. Section 4. Misdiagnosis and the race against time. The ambulance arrived, sirens wailing, a symphony of urgency. The city streets blurred past as the vehicle sped through, each second feeling like an eternity. The flashing lights painted the surroundings in hues of red and blue, signaling the critical nature of the situation to everyone in its path. Ironically, it was Tina's own colleagues who rushed to her aid. These were the same people she had shared countless shifts with, the same faces she had seen in the break room, now etched with worry and determination. They moved with practiced precision, their training kicking in as they attended to her. Disbelief clouded their faces as they assessed their friend and colleague, her vibrant energy now replaced by a disconcerting stillness. Tina, who was always the first to crack a joke or lend a hand, now lay motionless, her condition a stark contrast to the person they knew. The paramedics, initially attributing Tina's symptoms to a combination of stress and fatigue, failed to recognize the gravity of the situation. They had seen her push through long hours and demanding cases before, and it seemed plausible that she was simply exhausted. But this time, it was different. Precious minutes ticked by as Tina was transported to the hospital. The hum of the engine and the rhythmic beeping of the medical equipment created a tense soundtrack to the unfolding drama. Every bump in the road felt like a jolt to the fragile hope that she would pull through. Her friend, a pillar of strength amidst the chaos, provided vital information to the medical team, desperately emphasizing the urgency of the situation. She recounted Tina's symptoms, her recent behavior, and any possible triggers, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. Her insistence, fueled by a mother's intuition and a deep-seated fear for her friend's well-being, proved to be a turning point. She knew Tina better than anyone, and her gut told her that this was more than just exhaustion. Her pleas cut through the initial assessments, urging the medical team to look deeper. Finally, the medical team grasped the severity of Tina's condition. The realization hit them like a wave, and they sprang into action. The room buzzed with activity as they prepared to treat what they now understood to be a critical case. They had a stroke patient on their hands, and time was of the essence. Every second counted, and the team worked with a sense of urgency that matched the gravity of the situation. The race against time had begun, and they were determined to give Tina the best possible chance of recovery. Advanced medical equipment beeped and whirred as the doctors used every tool at their disposal to diagnose and treat Tina. The room was a flurry of activity, with nurses and doctors communicating in a rapid-fire exchange of medical jargon. The tension was palpable, but so was the determination. The clock on the wall seemed to tick louder with each passing second, a constant reminder of the critical window they were operating within. Time was both their enemy and their ally, pushing them to act swiftly and decisively. The medical team worked in unison, each member playing a crucial role in the effort to save Tina. Their hands moved with practiced skill, administering treatments and making adjustments with a precision born of experience and training. Tina's face, though marked by distress, also held a glimmer of hope. She was in the hands of professionals who were doing everything they could to bring her back from the brink. The battle was far from over, but the first steps had been taken. Outside the room, her friend watched anxiously, tears welling up in her eyes. She had done everything she could, and now it was up to the medical team. The weight of helplessness pressed down on her, but she held on to hope, praying for a miracle. The medical team continued to work tirelessly, their focus unwavering. Instructions were given, treatments were administered, and slowly but surely, they began to see signs of improvement. The race against time was still on, but they were gaining ground. The monitors began to show stable vitals, and a sense of relief washed over the room. The doctors and nurses exchanged looks of cautious optimism. They had managed to stabilize Tina, but the journey to recovery was just beginning. Her friend, overcome with emotion, embraced one of the doctors, tears of relief and gratitude streaming down her face. They had made it through the first critical phase, and for the first time, hope seemed within reach. As dawn broke outside the hospital, a new day began. The night had been long and harrowing, but it had also been a testament to the power of determination, teamwork, and the unyielding human spirit. Tina's fight was far from over, but she was not alone. She had a team of dedicated professionals and a friend who would move mountains for her. The race against time had been a grueling one, but it was a race they were determined to win. Section 5. Navigating the labyrinth of medical intervention. The diagnosis was swift and absolute. Tina had suffered a massive stroke. The news hit her family and friends like a tidal wave, leaving them reeling in shock and disbelief. How could this vibrant, healthy young woman be facing such a life-altering event? Tina was immediately whisked away for a battery of tests, her body hooked up to a symphony of beeping machines. The medical team worked tirelessly, their every action a testament to their commitment to saving lives. Tina underwent emergency surgery, a high-stakes procedure aimed at minimizing the damage caused by the stroke. Hours stretched into days as she lay in a medically induced coma,